around. These things are awesome.
Not bad for the money. You could have paid me $100 to take that cheap Chinese piece of crap. Well, it's awesome. Total piece of crap. Come on, wouldn't you trust this face?
We're out here at Motorama to play with a GMade Sawback that's been provided by Hidden Hanger to test out and see what it's like. There's a few things about this truck that's kind of interesting. It's got, or it feels like an erector set. It's got like a real cheap, thin, shiny chassis out of it. The battery stock location mounts in the back, which it does not work very well for crawling for that. The leaf springs are kind of stiff, but they work. It's a class 1 leaf spring thing. But the skid plate, look at the goofy skid plate on that. It's like a Hot Wheels car, and it hangs so far down, it's getting caught on everything. Obviously, it's a class 1 more to be a trail truck, not a rock crawler like we were just trying it out on, because the tires do not grip the rock very well at all. They're very hard, very slippery kind of a tire, good for dirt and trail. The drive shafts are decent, but they're still plastic. They got quite a bit of slop in them. Just obviously this is a bone stock one, and it's kind of sloppy and not so good. So they're not as high quality as your RC four-wheel drive type stuff. Definitely not an axial. Just kind of cheap feeling overall. But cheap is not always bad necessarily. You could have fun with it. I'm out here with Pat. He's got a Sawback that he's modified a little bit.
All box parts too.
He's got a little bit more steering out of it, it looks like, than the stock one. So what all did you do there?
I raised the links up, but I kept it below the leaf spring here and put a spacer between the pit arm and here. Hard panned it. I just bolted it right to the battery box, and then I used a piece of angle to just stiffen up the stock, you know, mount.
Yeah.
And it's worked good. I mean, this is really my first run with it, so it's kind of a shakedown. Oh yeah.
Oh, you got a loose one?
Yeah, loose. I'll tell you, it's you know.
Move the battery up instead of stock rear location.
Here, shorty here. My speed controller's in there along with my receiver, so everything's packed in there nice.
Yeah, and that brings the weight forward a lot on it.
Yeah. Then moving the servo up, of course, took the weight a little higher off the axle, but
yeah.
and you can actually adjust this to go up a couple more millimeters if you need to, if you need a little bit more travel.
Yours, did you take leaves out of it?
Yeah, I'm single leaf because everybody is just running the 2 leaves. I'm going to try to put a leaf into it and see how it acts.
It's definitely got more flex out of yours than out of the stock one.
Yeah.
That's like useless. I'm not liking the tires at all. Yours are broke in a little better, but the tires are hard and slippery.
Yeah, they are poo, I'll tell you. But I was running them when I first got here brand new, and then actually today things are just a little bit better. And on the wet rocks, if you get a little bit of water on the tires,
yeah,
it just seems like it grabs a little bit better, but then the water's away, so.
Right.
This is really my shakedown run with it.
Nice.
I like it, but it's not like an SEX10, you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, they are a class 1 rig. You know, I'm not necessarily a fan of the shiny on there, but
Me neither.
it's kind of like an erector set is what it reminds me of.
Well, that's why I did the hot rod crawling thing, because that's what it looks like. It's a showpiece, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I bought the chrome wheels, and we just kind of went that route. But I'm going to go back to something a little bit more with the body of beat up old school look.
Painted OD.
So after playing with the Sawback for a few days, we did get a chance to play with it out on some trails, as you saw in the intro part, and it does a lot better on the trails than it does on the rocks. Those tires are really hard on it, and it just doesn't want to grip the rocks very well, which is fine. Most people don't crawl rocks like we do here, so that's kind of fine in that respect. And I think that it would do fine with a stickier tire on it like I put on my Trail Finder. I think those would grip a lot better. I was not a fan of the Hot Wheels like skid plate. The skid plate is real bulky on the bottom of that, and it has 4 little rollers on it. I'm not sure if you could see that very well, but those 4 little rollers were supposed to make it roll over things better, but I think they made it catch on things more. It couldn't pivot on the skid plate, and it seemed like it was hanging up because those wheels actually hung down further than they needed to. So that was that's just a little issue there. The frame rails do feel very erector set on them. They kind of feel like that cheap metal, like the old erector sets, if you're familiar with those, kind of felt like. But you know, they seem sturdy enough. They didn't flex when I twisted them or anything like that. And it's got, they're pretty decent, C-channel style on them. So they don't feel as heavy duty necessarily as the Axial, but it could be just because they're a different kind of steel. They're plated instead of painted, so it could just be the way that it feels on there. Leaf springs work about the exact same as the Trail Finder does, so it's a little bit stiff. If you take some leaves out, it flexes better, just like the Trail Finder. It really is more of a class 1 rig, kind of like the Trail Finder is. It's not 4-linked. It's not really set up for heavy crawling, more like the Axial SCX10 is. But it did really well. It'll hang a wheel over a hole just like the Trail Finder does on there. And as you saw with Pat's, with a little bit of modification, you can get more flex out of it, move the weight forward on it, and it handles a lot better. His was crawling things a lot better than the stock one was. As for the body, some people have complained about the cheap Lexan body. I really didn't mind the body that much on it. The body is bigger. It's more 1/9 scale than 1/10 scale. We put a Hunter Dan in it from Cabela's that you can buy at Cabela's, which those are rated as a 1/9 action figure, and it's a perfect fit inside there, except you have to cut a little bit of firewall for his feet to fit through. But he looks great. And he comes with a rifle and a tree stand, so that worked perfect, and it was a perfect use for that guy that wouldn't fit in any of my other rigs, so he looks good in there. I like that. The windshield folds down on it, which is a cool little touch. And you can paint them any way you want. So even though it's Lexan, it was a decently heavy Lexan, so it's not real cheap. You notice in the crawl videos it wasn't flexing a lot like some Lexan does. So I mean, a Lexan body, but it's still pretty well detailed and it looks pretty good. And as you saw, the body on the one that Hidden Hanger lent us to do the review with has been modified. Somebody put the lights in it. Those headlight buckets are made out of contact cases painted silver, which was pretty cool, and all those extra lights. So you can do a lot with the body to make it a little different. They also had added a winch to the front bumper of that one, which was a nice touch. That winch actually worked on there. And that. Things I would do to it if I were to buy one. They are lower cost than a Trail Finder 2, and an Axial. They are a kit though. I think they're like around $250 or somewhere in there as a kit. But that's fine. You know, you can add your own electronics, your own servo and stuff like that. The Trail Finder was a lot more expensive. Axial maybe around the same price, but everybody's got one of those. So if you want a leaf spring one, Sawback's a good, cheaper version to go with for that. Handles well, seem to hold up well, and it's a little bit different. It's a little something different. So, you know, as far as that goes, I'd junk the tires right off, and I'd see about pulling either those Hot Wheels tires things off the skid or make my own skid. And I would definitely paint the chrome plated frame. That was annoying me, that chrome flame on there. Not the biggest fan of that. I've seen people online do both of those that I just mentioned. They look great. So if I were going to do one, I'd probably paint it, you know, olive drab, OD green, and do it military style just because I think it looks cool like that. And I'd change it out for a stickier tire that would grip a little better. And I'd probably take the extra leaves out just to give it anyway. So all of the screws on it are Phillips head, so that might kind of annoy some people. But like K&K, Team K&K makes a screw kit for the Sawback, so you can replace them all to a stainless hex head if you want. If you don't already have a Class 1 and you want to kind of build your own kit, this might be a good route to go. There are a bunch of upgrade options available for it already. It's been out for a little while. I'm not the first one to do a review, so there's some options out there, and you can paint the frame or you can keep it chrome, you know, like Pat showed you. You can do a lot of stuff with just the way it is right out of the box. So anyhow, that's our real honest review of it. Not really bad for the money, just something different, and it feels different. It is a GMade, you know. Hope you enjoyed the review, and I hope it helps you out. Thanks for watching. Just in case you're wondering what is the deal with the Cuddle You So Hard shirt, kind of an inside joke with Luke's daughter and cousin and Motorama. I guess you should have come to Motorama because it was a lot of fun. And hey, you know, the beard likes to cuddle.